One black woman, one cruel cashier, and one simple swipe of a card. What started as humiliation ended as a masterclass in quiet power. The sun poured through the glass windows, painting golden stripes across the small convenience store. Dust floated lazily in the warm light, dancing above shelves lined with faded cereal boxes and half-empty chip bags. The low hum of an old refrigerator filled the silence, blending with the gentle rhythm of an R&B song playing from a crackling radio in the corner. It was the kind of afternoon that felt almost still, peaceful, but heavy with stories no one bothered to notice. The door chimed softly as a woman stepped inside. Maya, a black woman in her 30s, carried herself with quiet grace. Her clothes were plain, her shoes worn from long days of walking, yet there was something unshakable in her eyes. Calm, steady, determined. She moved slowly through the aisles, her fingertips brushing against the shelves as if feeling the pulse of the place. When she reached the counter, she offered a gentle smile. "Good afternoon," she said softly. The cashier didn't look up. She was busy chewing gum, her phone glowing in her hand. Without lifting her gaze, she muttered, "Yeah, whatever." Maya's smile didn't fade. She simply placed her items on the counter and waited. Maya placed her items gently on the counter. A carton of milk, a loaf of bread, a few bright apples, and a small plastic toy shaped like a yellow truck. The kind of toy a child would love. She reached into her worn leather wallet and handed the cashier her card with quiet politeness. The cashier smirked, her glossy nails tapping the machine. She leaned slightly toward her coworker, voice dripping with mockery. "Hope this one doesn't decline again," she whispered, loud enough for Maya to hear. A few customers turned their heads. The air in the room shifted, thick with unspoken judgment. The card reader beeped, an error message flashing briefly on the screen. The cashier burst out laughing, her gum popping between her teeth. "Guess not everyone can afford to shop here," she said, shaking her head. Maya felt the weight of every eye on her, but she didn't flinch. Her voice was steady, her expression calm. "Could you please try it again?" she asked softly. The cashier sighed, rolling her eyes as she swiped the card once more. A soft beep. Approved. Maya smiled gently, collected her bag and said, "Thank you." Then she walked out, her dignity untouched, even as the laughter faded behind her. Outside, the afternoon sun shimmered against the car's windshield, turning the world into a haze of gold and heat. Maya sat behind the wheel, her hands resting still on the steering wheel. The faint hum of passing traffic filled the silence, but her mind was elsewhere, calm, collected, but deep in thought. On the passenger seat lay a sleek black folder, its golden letters gleaming softly under the light. Brooklyn Holdings. The name alone carried weight, authority, success, ownership. Maya's eyes lingered on it for a moment before she exhaled, slow and deliberate. It wasn't a sigh of defeat. It was the kind that comes when someone remembers who they truly are. She reached over, brushed the folder's corner with her fingertips, and smiled faintly. A smile not of revenge, but of purpose. The scene fades. Days later, the same store hums with routine. The same lazy sunlight filters through the windows. The cashier stands behind the counter, scrolling her phone as usual, chewing gum, laughing at nothing. The door chimes. A man in a gray suit enters, papers in hand, his tone professional and brisk. "Is your manager here?" he asks. "We're here for the ownership transfer." The cashier blinks, confused. "Ownership? Transfer?" she repeats, her voice suddenly smaller. The cashier blinked rapidly, confusion spreading across her face like a slow burn. "Ownership transfer? What's going on?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly as the suited man checked his clipboard. Before he could respond, the door chimed. The sound was small, but in that moment it felt like a thunderclap. Every head turned toward the entrance. Maya stepped inside. But this time, she wasn't the woman in worn jeans and faded shoes. She wore a tailored suit the color of midnight, her hair neatly pinned, her steps measured and assured. The air seemed to shift with her presence, quiet power wrapped in grace. The cashier froze, her mouth parting as recognition dawned. Maya offered a calm, professional smile. "Good afternoon," she said, her tone gentle but steady. "I'm the new owner. Starting today, this store is under new management." Silence fell heavy. The man in the suit nodded respectfully toward her. The cashier's face drained of color, her gum losing its rhythm. Maya met her gaze, not with anger, but with quiet authority. "Next time someone hands you their card," she said softly, "try a little respect. You never know who you're talking to." Her words lingered, sharp, elegant, unforgettable, as she walked behind the counter like she had always belonged there. The camera lingered on Maya as she stepped behind the counter. The same space where she had once been humiliated, now reclaimed with quiet dignity. Her smile was warm, genuine, the kind that softened even the coldest air. The customers watched in silence, some recognizing her, some simply sensing the change. Days turned into weeks, and under Maya's guidance, the little store transformed. The dusty shelves were restocked, the broken light above the counter fixed. But the biggest change wasn't the fresh paint or the new signage, it was the people. Maya began hiring those the world often overlooked. A young mother who'd lost her job, an elderly man too old for most employers, a teenager who just needed someone to believe in him. Each morning, laughter replaced the silence, and kindness replaced the sneers. The same sunlight that once revealed her pain now illuminated her triumph. The store, once ordinary, pulsed with life and gratitude. As the camera pulled back, Maya stood by the window, watching the street with peaceful eyes. A voice echoed softly over the scene. "Humility costs nothing, but arrogance can cost you everything. Kindness, it's the richest currency there is." And in that light, Maya smiled, richer than anyone could see. Never judge people by their appearance or their wallet. True worth doesn't show on the outside. It shows in how you treat others.